This episode contains information of a graphic matter that may not be suitable for some viewers and no persons under the age of 18. Viewer discretion is advised. All information in this program is known to be accurate at the time of recording. Any commentary by the host is for discussion purposes only. Anyone labeled a person of interest by the host or family has not been charged with a crime. All suspects charged with crimes related or unrelated to a case covered are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Opinions and views expressed by the host do not represent views of the families or sponsors of this program. In the U.S., there are over 600,000 missing persons cases reported each year. Many go unnoticed by the general public and are not covered by the media or investigated by law enforcement. Here is just one of these stories. From Grim Media, I'm your host, Steve Stone, and this is the Grim Truth Podcast. Hello everyone, welcome to the Grim Truth Podcast. I'm your host, Steve Stone. Before we get in today's video, please, if you haven't done so, subscribe to the Grim Truth Podcast YouTube channel. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode of the Grim Truth Podcast or any other content related to the missing and the murdered. Smash that like button. Break down the wall of the YouTube algorithm so we can get these videos shared to as many people as possible. Comment down below. Let us know your thoughts on the case. Leave a kind message for the family. So, because keep in mind, they also take a look at the podcast. So give them some support, thoughts, prayers, and also let us know how we're doing. Finally, sharing is caring. Share these videos again. The more people that get to see them, maybe another podcaster sees this video and wants to help out, reach out to the family and do a story on them. The more the merrier. The more people that hear about these cases, the better chance that they could be solved. And that's the complete end game. The Grim Truth Podcast today is sponsored by my Patreon page. Become a producer. How would you like to become a producer of this podcast? For as little as $3 a month, you can have your name at the end of the credits of every episode. As little as $3 a month. You can go to www.patreon.com, search Steve Stone to become a member. I am really trying to do something awesome with the Patreon membership, working together with YouTube with t-shirts, hats, and stuff. Instead of buying them, if you become a member, you get them for free. I'm working on that, and hopefully we should have that up and running in a couple of months. Jeremy Wayne Sirkel. He went missing from Cleveland, Texas on May the 13th, 2017. He was 24 years of age, 5'9", 195 pounds. He had blonde hair, dyed, and he had brown eyes. Jeremy does have brown hair as his original hair color. Now, with every case, you have your ups, downs, you have your weird happenings and so forth. And in Jeremy's case, there's a lot of that. Jeremy lived with his sister, Terry Enriquez, and her boyfriend, Jesse Valdez. And the things that surround this case are a lot of stories that have changed. Unfortunately, there is some substance abuse, not only when it came to Jeremy, but also in that household where he's living. And one person that seems to be at the center of this is a man by the name of Robert Jeffcoat. Now, this is a yearbook picture that we got because Robert Jeffcoat has gone off the grid. According to sources, which you're going to hear later, this guy is being really silent, and for a reason. One that I don't know personally, but it doesn't make any sense. I had the pleasure of talking with Teresa, Jeremy's mom, and she talks about the kind of person that Jeremy is and some of the things that were going on in his life before he was missing. Take a listen.
Oh, Jeremy, he's a quiet person. I mean, he's not real talkative unless he gets to know somebody. But all his life he's been a quiet type. And he was not, and he's never been in no kind of trouble in his life.
Okay.
His half sister that he was staying with back in 2016. After my mom passed away, which was his nanny, he helped take care of her until she died. Well, his half sister come down from Cleveland and stayed. She come down for my mom's funeral, and Jeremy went back home with her. He caught I tried to get him not to go, but he said he wanted to go for a week or so, and then he would be she was going to send him back on the bus. So he went to Cleveland.
In a short amount of time, Jeremy had experienced a lot of tragedy right before he went missing. He had the death of his father, the death of his nana, who he was caring for, and then there's this offer to go to his sister's house and kind of get away, take a break, and he takes her up on that offer. She was living with Jesse Valdez at the time. That was her, I guess, boyfriend or roommate or whatever. So Jeremy goes, and then things start getting really weird, really strange, and really bad fast. You heard that Jeremy hadn't been in trouble with the law, walked a pretty fine line. Things start to change. One of the things in this case that is odd is the story that we're going to hear coming up. Something happened to Jeremy. Now, I will say that we were unable to verify that this happened, and of course, I didn't expect to verify it, only because of the nature of the issue. Viewer discretion is advised. This could be a tough topic for those that have experienced something like this. But you'll hear that things start going downhill fast at his sister's house, and something's not right.
She used drugs. Jeremy never used them in his life, but she used drugs, and she hung around, the wrong type of people. And as she got him down there, he got the habit of wanting to drink. Him and his brother both. After their dad passed, we found their dad dead one morning, and so they both started drinking. Well, Jeremy was drinking, and Terry, she was drinking, and one night, I don't know if she mistaked his bedroom as her bedroom, or she just went into Jeremy's room when he was staying there. Well, he happened to wake up, because he told his brother this. He woke up, and she didn't have no clothes on, and she was sitting in the bed with him. She allegedly claimed he cut her with a knife. He got into it with her, supposedly supposed to got into it with her and cut her in her stomach with a knife, and I've had witnesses that seen her stomach say that my best friend said it wasn't nothing but it was more like a dog scratch, or a cat, with a dog or a cat is scratchy.
So
it wasn't deep.
So Jeremy, the accusation was Jeremy supposedly cut Terry with a knife?
Yeah, that's what they said. Well, they took Jeremy to jail. Jeremy went to jail. It was back in 2006, July of 2016, and I forgot how long he stayed in jail, but he got out. He got out on bond. Well, no, he was on bond, because he had to call in every week. Well, Terry told, in August, Terry told him, because I was having complications with my hernia that I have in my stomach, so she she told Jeremy that I had cancer and I didn't have long to live. That's what Terry told Jeremy. So he took off. He walked over 100-something miles from Cleveland to Grand Sling, where I live. And I mean, he walked day and night, and some people found him in Wells, Texas. I think the other side of Wells, Texas. He was sitting on the side. He was on the side of the road, soaking wet, as he'd been walking in the rain and stuff. So they took him and got him some clean. They took him to hit their house, got him some clean clothes and new shoes and all that stuff, because his shoes, he done walked holes in the shoes. Well, he come here. Well, my brother-in-law picked him up in Tyler, because they brought him to Tyler and they picked him up. And then we moved to Lubbock, Texas, and Jeremy and my other son went with us. And but I made sure he called every week. He had to call the bondsman every week to make sure of his court date.
Things deteriorate, obviously, for Jeremy while he's living with his half-sister. Increased alcohol usage, and some questionable behavior on the part of his sister. We can't confirm or deny any of this, and we don't know if Jeremy said this to his friends that it happened, and if that did happen, substances, narcotics, drugs, anything that you're taking in excess can cause inhibitions, can change behavior, can do things you might not normally do. This obviously could have been a mistake. We don't know if anything more came of it at the time, but I hope that's not the case. Jeremy, then gets in trouble for this scratch, and he gets arrested, and he goes to jail, gets bonded out, and things are just in turmoil over there. So then you get the story of Terry saying that his mom has cancer. This kid walks over 100 miles back home to check on his mom. And things start straightening out a little bit. It doesn't last long. And unfortunately, things progressively get a whole lot worse. In this next segment, we're going to talk about how Jeremy gets in trouble with the law again, and how the system may have failed Jeremy, and that could be a possible reason why he's now missing. Take a listen. Here's Teresa again discussing the events right before he went missing.
And so one week Jeremy wasn't the type that would talk, would ask anybody, anybody like to use the phone. My phone was cut off, and he knew he had to report once a week, and I made it every Tuesday of the week. And so in January he was arrested up there in Lubbock. They picked him up there in Lubbock, and he stayed 11 days in Lubbock jail, and then they transferred him back to Cold Springs, and he got out on the 31st of March, and his sister, they released him back to her care, back in her care. he wasn't even supposed to went back there, but that's where the lawyer released him back. That's where they released him back to. They released him back to go to her house because she was the only one that she's the only one down there that he could have stayed with. So they sent him back to her house, and he told him that he didn't want to go back to her house. Well, as soon as he got out of jail, she got introduced him the first time he was down there. She got introduced him to some of her druggy friends. But this time when he got out, there was a guy named Robert Jeffcoat, which Terry stayed with for a month or two before Jeremy went down there. Before Jeremy was arrested in Lubbock. And he was coming around, and I told Terry, I said, well, you need to keep him away from there. But she claimed that he just come around to take them to the stores and stuff. Well, she introduced Jeremy to him, and she already knew how he was. He was schizophrenic, bipolar, he was a drug addict. And plus, he's, I guess, bisexual, I don't know. He liked dressing like a woman. He dressed as a woman, like dressing as a woman. She started going off with, every time she'd go off with him, she's always telling Jeremy, no, you're not staying home, you're going with us. So every time she went, Jeremy would go. Because she told him he wasn't staying. She wasn't leaving him home, so he had to go with her. And then on the, and he'd had problems because I'd been on the phone with her, talking to her, and I told her, I said, he is not a child. I said, he's 24 years old. You cannot keep him at home constantly, and you can't treat him like he's a kid. She wouldn't let him go outside, not unless she was outside. She wouldn't let him, and her boyfriend, he was always picking fights with him. But when Jeremy got started, especially if Jeremy was drinking, and that's when he had a mouth on him. And Jesse, her boyfriend, would threaten him, and he threatened him, and I told Jesse, because he wouldn't get on the phone, but I told him, I said, you need to quit threatening my son. And I told Terry and him to quit riding him. That's how come Jeremy started going off. He would take off without him knowing it, and he would end up with that Robert Jeffcoat guy.
So you have this 24-year-old kid. He gets picked up for not checking in with his bondsman. Serves his time, and they release him for reasons unknown, not to his mom, but his sister. Now, keep in mind, this is a over 18 young adult. He's not a child. He's not been declared unable to take care of himself. None of that stuff. And he's back over with his sister. And it's at this point, now to my knowledge, he wasn't on house arrest or anything, but she's bossing him around. She's being very controlling. You can do that. You couldn't go anywhere, couldn't do anything. And then you have this Robert Jeffcoat character being introduced. And you have Terry controlling this young man. You can't do this, you can't do that. Drugs abound. You've got Jesse making threats to beat Jeremy up. And then you've got Robert Jeffcoat, who is also in the mix, who, due to sources and reports, that he was having his own issues with substance abuse and mental health issues. And this is a perfect storm. I asked his mom if he had ever stated to him that things were bad and he wanted to get out. Here's what she said. Take a listen.
Yes, we were in Lubbock at the time still, trying to get back to East Texas. And I told Jeremy, he cried to me, because I talked to him 3 days before Mother's Day. And he said, Mama, I can't stay. He got a job to try to save money to come, to catch a bus to come. He wanted to come to Lubbock. Well, I told Jeremy, I said, Jeremy, just tough it out. Just try to take it easy and just, tough it out there long enough until we could get back to East Texas. And once we got back to East Texas, I would get somebody to go pick, to drive me, take me there to pick him up. But he was one away from there. He said he couldn't take it no more with Jesse and with Terry controlling him and Jesse accusing him of stealing his guns and money. And the 12th of May, the night before, it was on Friday. It was on a Friday. Robert Jeffcoat told me all this, which Terry tried to deny it, but she couldn't deny it because it was she let stuff slip out where I knew it was true. I didn't want to believe Robert Jeffcoat, but he told me that Friday, him and Jeremy and Terry had been out, and they rented Terry wanted to rent a motel room, so they rented a motel room. I don't know where at. I don't know if it was most likely in Shepherd or Livingston. He didn't say. But he said that they wanted a party and he couldn't take them to his mama's house because he was staying with his mama. He was a grown man, but he was staying with his mama. And I asked what went on in the motel room, and he was telling me detailed he told me everything. And Terry was wanting to do drugs. Robert said, I swear I didn't make Jeremy do nothing. He said Terry kept telling him, and he kept telling Terry no, because I promised my mama I'd never touch nothing like, no kind of drugs or nothing like that. And so she kept on pushing and pushing. Well, I guess Robert said he decided to go ahead and try it that once. And then I said, well, what else went on? And then this is all what Robert Jeffcoat told me. He said that he told Terry, you can't make your brother do that. That's your brother. Why are you wanting him to do that? And she was wanting him to do something with both of them. She was forcing Jeremy into doing something with both of them. He said that he told me all that detail, and when I brought it up to Terry, she was trying to deny it, but then she let stuff slip out. She let stuff slip out about a motel, and that's when I seen that she was lying about it. And Robert Jeffcoat said that's everything that went on that Friday, and that's before Jeremy come up missing.
Jeremy Wayne Sirkel was in a bad place. Just listening to that as a father, as an advocate, as a journalist, he seems that he's trapped. There's no other word to describe it. Trapped. And then you have the forcefulness of his sister, not letting him go places, and on top of that, forcing him to do dope. Folks, we never know what we're going to do when we're pushed into a situation and continue to be pushed and continue to be pushed and pushed. Sometimes people just give in because they can't take the push anymore. And I believe that Jeremy is a strong individual, but I feel like negative people wear you down and wear you down. They just keep wearing at you until you tap out because you can't take it anymore. And that's what I heard in that segment. As difficult as that is to hear, you've got somebody that seems to be throwing their weight, their influence on another person, and they've got nothing to do. The sexual allegations, as far as that goes, now granted, Jeremy was 24 at the time of his disappearance, and this is days before his disappearance. I don't know what went on in that room. I don't know if there was any forced sexual intercourse going on, but with what I'm hearing, it's very disturbing, and this continues to get disturbing, and there's going to be things that you're going to hear in part 2 next Wednesday that are going to even floor you more, because there's more to this than meets the eye. Before we get into what's coming up on part 2 next Wednesday, I want everyone to know that we want to give our audience, those people that are watching, the opportunity to have the information to make really good decisions. And one of those is help.org. Help.org has a national drug helpline. A lot of our cases have people that are substance abusers, and addiction is a terrible, terrible thing. You can contact the National Drug Helpline toll free 1-844-289-0879. That's 1-844-289-0879. You have the National Alliance of Mental Illness Helpline, which is 1-800-950-NAMI or 1-800-950-6264. And then there's the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, toll free 1-800-273-TALK, 1-800-273-8255, or for TTY users, for those that need help because of being deaf or having hearing loss, 1-800-799-4889. There's also Spanish language services available by calling 1-888-628-9454. Online chat is available. You can get all of this help at www.help.org. So please take a look at that. And lastly, RAIN, which is the Rape, Abuse, Incest National Network. You can go there just by going www.rain.org, www.rainn.org. They also have a toll-free number, 1-800-656-HOPE, 1-800-656-4673. Coming up next Wednesday on episode 38, part 2.
Jeremy supposedly slept in the back of the vehicle. Robert slept in the front. Robert's first story stated that he slept for 2 days, and then he woke up.
Well, no, he told me that he told me that normally when he's up for days, had been up for 2 or 3 days doing the drugs and stuff, he said that most of the time he sleeps 2 or 3 days when he's coming down off of it. He sleeps for 2 or 3 days.
Let me put it this way. According to the San Jacinto County detective, he lawyered up. I don't know that that's true or not. The San Jacinto County will lie to you in a heartbeat.
793-624 is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Terry Enriquez, this is Steve Stone, the journalist looking into the disappearance of the young man from Texas, Jeremy Wayne Sirkel. I really need to talk to you about a couple of things. If you can give me a call back at this number, 321-343-4976. Again,
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system. 83257 is not available. At the tone, please record your message.
Terry, this is Steve Stone. I'm just returning your phone call. I am in the office until I got some questions I'd like to ask regarding Jeremy's disappearance, so I just want to get right down to it. That's what's going to come up next week. Part 2 next Wednesday. Episode 38, What Happened to Jeremy. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss an episode of the Grim Truth Podcast. Any other content related to the missing and the murdered, make sure you smash that like button and leave us a comment. Share these podcasts. It's very, very important to get this out, even if it's to another podcast or even it's somebody in the media. It's very important. Don't forget, if you need, contact the Rape, Abuse, Incest National Network, RAIN.org, the toll-free number 1-800-866-HOPE, that's 4673, and then again, help.org. If you want help with your substance abuse issue, there's a drug helpline, 1-844-2893-0879. You also have the National Alliance for Mental Illness. If you need help, you think you have something wrong with you, or you know you do, and you want to get that help you need, 1-800-940-6264. And then, as always, the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. Toll-free, 1-800-273-TALK, 1-800-273-8255. As well as if you have any information on what happened to Jeremy Wayne Sirkel, please contact our Grim Truth Podcast tip line, 321-343-4972. That's 321-343-4972. As always, you can remain anonymous. That's going to do it for this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in as we continue to be a voice for the voiceless in search of the truth. I'm your host, Steve Stone, and this has been the Grim Truth Podcast.